To build a car for the future, or a concept car as it's known in the car industry, is a dream job for all car designers. With such a project, they have the opportunity to test new and somewhat different design solutions, as well as having considerably more freedom with their creations. Concept cars are the car industry's way of showing what cars of the future will look like.
I think it's a good-looking car. Yeah, it's a really nice piece of design.
I think Volvo needs better product, and this looks like being better product.
I think the concept car really is very well performed.
The new S60 concept is one of Volvo's most important concept cars ever. This car must show that it is one of the strongest actors in this segment, where competition is, to say the least, more than tough.
Well, I think if you look anywhere around the world at successful premium manufacturers, they have a successful large sedan. It's a big part of our business in North America, it's a big part of business in Europe, and it potentially is a big part of business in other parts of the world. So it's very important to be successful in this particular segment.
To have it in nice balance, we have it on the doors and we use it on the tunnel.
In February 2008, the first sketches were made of the new S60 concept. The goal, as it's known in design language, was to lift Volvo's design DNA to a new level. This would be a somewhat sportier and more luxurious Volvo than previous models. The concept car should also give a relatively clear picture of what the new S60 that will be launched next year will look like.
Firstly, we have the opportunity now to sort of preview and start showing the public that there is an S60 still coming, that we're continuing on with this emphasis now on putting modern Scandinavian design in towards the Volvo brand, taking what we did on the XC60 concept, the XC60 production car, but taking up into the next level.
In the beginning of this concept car project, Steve Mettin told us that in this particular car we should really strive for expressing premiumness more than perhaps we have ever done in a Volvo car.
Building a concept car is a complicated process where lines, angles, and measurements from sketches and drawings, under the pressure of time, must be transposed into actual production. Since early last spring, here at Volvo Concept Center in Gothenburg, they have worked day and night to produce the different parts and components for the new car. These are then test-mounted onto the body of the car, which until now is pretty much pared down to basics. Here, for example, they test how the advanced doors will work. Volvo's chief designer, Steve Mettin, likes to work with a relatively small but close-knit design team, where a major part of the production is also done in-house.
We don't have those same limitations, whether it's from, let's say, a cost issue, from a functionality, the legal issues that we have to work with. It's obviously a very condensed, very tight team of people working in a very short time frame. But within that teamwork, we sort of bounce the ideas off each other. And of course, we can bring in a lot of ideas that we don't have in production, but we want to bring into future vehicles. So using this sort of bouncing ball between each other, we have a very intense, very exciting creative period. And of course, concept cars are probably the funnest or the best part of the job, really.
It's extremely rewarding, of course, being a designer and working on a concept car, because from the very first sketches you perhaps see the finished car after, say, 8-9 months or perhaps a year, whereas a real production program can last up till 5-6 years from the very first phases up to the finished car.
So far we have the body side like this with these sort of twisting surfaces over the shoulder, as our new interpretation. I loved this whole process of doing this concept car. I mean, first it's a four-door sedan, which is a very sexy, sporty car. And with that proportions, you can really sort of have fun with it, you know, and really try some emphasize the lamps and give a much more focused look to the front and also aggressive rear, and really get some new ideas across.
Malte Mussner works with developing the car's new headlights, a very important detail on a concept car. With the headlights, as with the rest of the car, it's a question of modern Scandinavian design.
It is a simplicity which is in, it is a lot of glass, it's clearness, it is definitely not pimp my ride, everything has to have a reason. It is a transparent functionalism, that's what I try to achieve here. And I quite follow this and I quite love it. It's great. It's just great.
It is now only 6 weeks before the completed car must roll out of the workshop in a completely finished state. Many of the different components are now also starting to be completed. Virtually every little part developed for the car is built by hand, from fittings to electronics, from bodywork to safety systems. Here, for the very first time, they have the opportunity to test and study the unique seats in a real situation. The design team have put in thousands of hours thinking through every single little detail. But without the help of computers, it would have never been possible to produce a completely new car in such a short time. Since he came to Volvo some 3 years ago, Steve Matten has chosen to work following a design idiom that he calls modern Scandinavian design. This time, the goal has also been to build a somewhat more luxurious Volvo that emanates the feeling that it belongs in the premium segment.
We're previewing how we're developing the design language, starting with some of the core ingredients, some of the core brand strengths that we have, the DNA elements, but we're adding this emotion in, we're adding the dynamism, we're giving the car a lot more character. And if we take, for example, the shoulder, you'll see then here another new interpretation of the shoulder, the double wave shoulder as we call it, actually combining the strength of the shoulder but with an emotional twist, very much inspired by the environment that we have here, the Swedish coastline, the archipelago, the rock formation.
In this particular car, I think that the crystal center stack is an example, an exponent of what premium could be in a Scandinavian car.
Here at the Orrefors Kostaboda Glassworks in Småland in the south of Sweden, they have manufactured glass since 1742. But this is the first time that they have received such a, to say the least, unusual assignment.
I think one has talked about this for years within Volvo, to sometime try to take this opportunity of using perhaps the most Scandinavian or Swedish material that you possibly can imagine in a car. And now finally we got the opportunity to do this.
This is the first time in the history of the motor car that Swedish crystal has been used in this way.
I'm a firm believer that this is the first crystal car ever made in the whole industry.
For the Glassworks, this is also something completely new, but something that they would be very happy to continue doing. But even if this is crystal art of the very highest level, there will almost certainly not be any center console made of crystal in Volvo cars of the future. No, this is unique and is best suited inside a concept car.
I think it looks amazing. I mean, much better than we expected, really. So I think we are very excited right now.
For 3 weeks now, the team have assembled and tested to ensure that all parts work together. And when they finally work, then it's time to dismantle all of the parts again for a final adjustment. At the same time, it's time for the painting of the bodywork.